I seem to have built up these different influences from throughout the years that have built up an idea or an image or associations with that kind of workplace and the kind of people I imagine would work there. And that's not me berating anybody who works in an office. This is just what I have conjured up in my mind, especially from when I was a bit younger. I mean, my dad worked in finance. He wore a suit, but his idea of a suit was bish, bash, bosh, blazer, shirt, tie. It didn't put any other thought into it. I asked him one time when I was 14, did he wish that he had made a living from being a musician rather than working in finance? And he said, looking back on it, he wished he had. I do believe that my dad did enjoy the job to an extent, because he wouldn't have stayed there for years and years if he didn't enjoy it. He never gave up on his music. He always enjoyed playing music whenever he had the chance to. But for me as a 14-year-old, that solidified the attitude for me that I was never going to go near the corporate world. And also, the Sun newspaper seemed to be filled up in their problem pages to do with people having an affair in the office. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, or that was ill-advised. And it seemed like, to me, working in that kind of environment was the bane of adult life, adult lifestyle, the adult world. It is a subconscious bias that I've definitely conjured up over time. I'm going to let you in on this other detail. When I was at school, our uniform was blazers, shirts, ties, and as I got older, that was not the image that I associated with a man who was going to make me feel safe, loved, protected. So there was that link that I had as well. And also, in my mid-20s, I was in a lot of financial trouble. I found myself working an internship in London at one point. I felt that I was always surrounded by, at the time, people who were in that kind of work environment or came from that work environment. And to me, it's the idea that it's the calibre of society's ideals of success, alpha male, big business, big money. And for me, at that time particularly, I was none of those things, feeling lacking in so many aspects of myself. And I literally felt like people who I was within a presence of were just looking down at me like I was a worthless piece of whatever. And that, for me, is the big stickler that I think that this entire men in suits thing comes from. Some people are probably wondering, you know, would I feel more comfortable if it was a larger man in a suit? And my answer is, I would feel most likely a heck of a lot more comfortable, but it still has that whole wall for me. It's just there. It's just there. During the pandemic, I went through several days where I was getting really fed up with still feeling like I can't be half as expressive as I wish I can. Mental blocks that continue to get in my way, and so really wanted to get to the bottom of what these were so that I could then understand them, where they stem from, so that I could then hopefully move forwards. I tried this writing exercise where I was writing everything down like a list of what came to mind about when I think of these different worries that I've got. This whole thing about men in suits and walking into crowded rooms came up, of anxieties that I have, and is it something that I can confront? Yes, I think definitely. How I do that, I don't know. I would much rather confront that rather than my fear of spiders. My biggest one, though, is public speaking, but if anybody else has got a similar aversion to guys in certain attires, I'd love to know. Ta-ta.